Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Paradigm Paradox, continuing Kamui's route. And we were gonna go on a date, but then we can't because monsters. But I feel like the way we left off, like thinking like when we saw this screen come up, we can't go on our date because vectors appear, and I'm like, is this gonna be like the downfall of Sena? Like, she was wrong. So everyone's gonna start thinking that like she's unreliable and stuff, and that's gonna be because you kind of could see where that was going in that direction. So I'm like, is this the turning point? Anyway, turns out we couldn't go on our date after all. A few hours later, we were standing by the outer wall where a group of vectors had appeared. I feel relieved because Sana said in her. I felt relieved because Sana said in her new broadcast that the vectors wouldn't appear until evening. But we didn't expect them to come out the second afternoon turned into evening. Okay, so not technically wrong. Kamui suggested the date, so he was just as surprised as anyone. He started to panic right when the evening broadcast began. We must move out. Not a single fiend shall enter the colony. Quiet down, you're hurting my ears. I guess she's feeling desperate. Those vectors nearly slipped in right between her predictions. I can hear you two, you know. Well, it all turned out okay, at least. They almost took advantage of a gap in our system, but we caught it. I nodded in agreement with Kaori. Let's just focus on the vectors. We'll discuss countermeasures when we're back at the command center. I see them. There. They're swarming over there. There were a lot of vectors attacking tonight. I have to provide more support so Sana can stay back. Redouble your support efforts, cast Augment. I'm assuming we cast Augment because that's what our power is, so that is our support system, isn't it? Yes, okay. I better use Augment right away. It'll shorten the time it takes us to get out there and lessen Sana's load. While Kaori's team moved further ahead, I jumped and landed next to Sana. I'm gonna use Augment to support them, so would you be able to... You want me to protect you while scanning the area, correct? I can handle that quite easily. Ha! Looks like we're in sync. But how do you know I didn't simply foresee this? Nah, I think you just have a good sense for what I'm thinking. But of course, you're extremely obvious. Oh, nothing. Just focus your attention on our enemies. The vectors weren't as aggressive this time, and many of them retreated after a little pushback. Soon, only a few remained. I'm not sure, but one of the bad guys is like, ugh, you took them down too fast. This is no fun at all. Oh, that guy, okay. I turned toward the voice and saw the human-like vector we'd seen with Moravia in the past. I think his name was Yukonami? What's he doing here? Well, actually, I guess it's pretty obvious. Now it's my turn to play. Yukonami flashed an innocent grin as he lunged forward with agility. Kaori and Haruka tried to fight back, but Yukonami was too quick and dodged all their attacks. He even seemed to be teasing them by dashing around and taking swipes. His strikes aren't causing serious damage, but will wear us down at this rate. I shall predict his movements and guide Kaori's team. Sana stepped in front of me. She's so cute when she's like this. Don't! It'll be too big of a strain! I tried to stop her, but Sana unleashed her powers right away. Kaori, Haruka, on your right, then from behind. Sana! She's using foresight! Yeah, let's hurry and take this punk down. Sana won't last long if she keeps using her powers like this. I know! Kaori and Haruka changed their approach substantially after Sana's instructions. They began to land their attacks, and I could see the tide turning in our favor. The other vectors are down. All that's left is the one prancing around, but we'll take care of him soon enough. Yeah. Sana concentrated with Herculean effort as she shouted out orders to Kaori and Haruka. Just a little more. Please hold on. What are you doing? Why are you being so fidgety? Are you trying to snug us there? You can. Just be very, very fidgety and running all over. You usually just snugs. Why are you running all over trying to cause trouble? You're being troublesome, bird. Ow, and then you bite. It was very nasty. It was very mean. You're such a nasty bird. You're the meanest bird that ever meaned. You're the meanest, nastiest, most evil bird. It's really not. It was very bitey. You're being very mean lately. I think it's because you're mad because I left you last week. You're still mad about that? Yeah, you still are. I know you're still mad. You're still grumpy. You're still grumpy, but I said it's okay. You're allowed to bite me. But you know what? It's been a week now. I've been home. I've been home for like 5 or 6 days now. I've been home a long time. I left you a week ago. You're fine. It's been a few days. He's like, you've only been back as long as you've been gone. That's true, actually. No, I came back on Mondays. Grandma and I came back on Mondays. It's now Fridays. We left you on Fridays, but you came back on Monday. Oh, we left you on Thursday. True, you're right, I did. You was very nasty. You was very, very bitey. I'm going to grab you. Don't you dare. You come back here. You don't sit on that pillow. You're not allowed on that pillow. You're not allowed on the Chuya pillow. No, you're a brat. This is why it's going to take us 12 hours to play each route in this game, because you're distracting. Just a little more. Please hold on. He's been very nasty lately. He's mad that I left. I focused on Sena while silently pleading with her. Next is back, left, now front. Sena's breathing grew more and more strained and her expression turned grave. That's it. I have to stop her. I moved to Sena and reached for her shoulder. The moment I touched Sena, a scream tore from her throat. Sena! Sena doubled over and grabbed her head as if she were in excruciating pain. She overdid it with foresight in a short span of time, so this is the price she pays. She needs to rest immediately. Mocha, I need your help. We need to get Sena to the command center. I glanced over at Mocha, but in the next moment, Sena suddenly groaned in pain. Sena? I gasped and looked back at her. She was completely dazed, and her eyes wandered around without focus. Where am I? Sena then unceremoniously sat down on the ground. Sena! Sena! What's wrong? Snap out of it. Mocha and I both knelt down, calling out to Sena and trying to get her to focus. But Sena's eyes remained glassy as she mumbled to herself. Hey, you're supposed to be playing with me, remember? How come she gets all the attention? I realized the attacks had stopped. Yukinami was standing atop a pile of rubble, looking down on us with displeasure. What a bunch of killjoys. I'm so over this. Yukinami resembled a petulant child as he turned away and vanished. What's he up to? Don't tell me he's going into the colony. We had to avoid that scenario at all costs. I quickly called out to the rest of the girls. Kaori, Haruka, go after him. Let's all chase after him. I'll go after him. I feel like we should send Kaori and Haruka after him so that we stay with Sena, because I'll go after him. He seems noble, but we want to protect our girlfriend/boyfriend, so I feel like we should send the other two after him, because we shouldn't all go after him, because Sena's not in any shape, you know? Ooh, save file 3. Okay. Okay, we got a lot of, shit, okay. This is gonna be interesting. How many save files do we have? I thought we only had, hold on, I'm gonna scroll back up. Oh, there's oh, okay, main endings, happy, normal, bad 3. Okay, I was wondering why it said bad 3, and I was thinking, is Kamui's bad end the third bad end? Like, each one has one, but maybe he's got multiple, okay. Main ending, so maybe he's got more than one bad end. Well, I mean, yeah, because we're going to get the happy end, and there's the normal and the bad, and we've already got 3 save files, so there's got to be multiple bad ends. But anyway, yeah, what I thought. Kaori, Haruka, you go after Yukinami. Got it. You and Mocha should take care of Sena. And now wait for us. Go to the command center. All right, thank you. We all nodded to each other and got moving. Oh, that's, what's his or her face? That's Moravia, okay. I thought Yukinami would be here. A familiar voice suddenly cut through the air. It sounded very unbothered, which felt incongruous with the current situation. We still don't really quite have a voice for Ibuki, but like, I feel like if Ibuki's very chill, so. Moravia? Well, the way we've seen Moravia, anyway, so that's just my assumption. Because we've really never met Ibuki at all. We've only met him in his magical girl form as Moravia. So, you know. Oh, hey, long time no see. Dinner's ready, so I just came to get Yukonami, but maybe I just missed him. Dinner? Ah, well, some things held me up, so it's late today. I suppose it's more like a midnight snack. No. No, that's not the issue. Malko tried to clarify, though she was bewildered. Even Haruka, who is usually so calm, was caught off guard and just stared at Moravia, slack-jawed. Yukonami got bored and left. Oh, really? Then I better go get him. Catch you later. Moravia waved and then disappeared from view. She seriously just left, and we were able to hold a conversation with her. Well, I'm not sure I'd call that a conversation. As we all carefully let down our guard, the commander's voice boomed from a nearby street speaker. Great work, everyone! Sorry to ask when you're so tired, but please bring Sana back right away. We brought Sana back to the command center, and the commander and Rio rushed her to another room. The rest of us stayed in the command center for a long time, not saying a word. They sure are taking a while. Kaori broke the silence first. Sana was acting strange, wasn't she? You think Moravia could have attacked her without us knowing? Maybe she used something similar to my sap ability, or Kaori's hypnosis. I don't know, but Sana definitely was holding her head in pain. I didn't think this was Moravia's doing, but I couldn't rule out the possibility until we knew for sure. She's probably overworked herself. Something like this happened before when Kamui had finished the broadcast and was resting in the chemistry prep room. The sound of footsteps interrupted my thoughts. I looked up and saw the commander walking toward us, face fraught with fatigue. Face fraught with fatigue. Wow, that's a lot of F alliteration. Thanks for your patience. Commander, are you alone? Where's Sana? Sana managed to calm down, so I had Rio escort her home. So what happened to her? Don't tell me this is the price of using foresight. I'll take your silence as a yes. Commander, please tell us the truth. Our teamwork was as strong now as it was in battle, leaving the commander no choice but to explain. He hesitated momentarily, then heaved a deep sigh. You're absolutely right. Each of your unique abilities comes with a price. We decided to keep the specifics private, so I've never explained them to you. Kind of feel like you should. Okay. There's also the issue of how Sana is going to move forward, so I'll tell you everything now. The commander's frank tone made it all the more frightening. Both earlier tonight and the other day in the prep room, Kamui didn't seem to be just in a daze. It was more like, oh no, that can't be the side effect. I'm overthinking it. It's got to be something else. I fervently hoped I was wrong, even as the suspicion grew in my mind, causing my stomach to twist into knots. I'm terrified to hear the truth, but I can't just run away. I gripped the hem of my skirt to steady my hands and waited for the commander to continue. I might throw my remote if it's going to turn into fucking, like, a goddamn, like... Well, now Sana/Kamui has amnesia. Fuck an A. Oh my god. Yeah, okay. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. I'm going to throw my fucking remote. I mean, okay. On one hand, I want to be mad because you are not doing an amnesia trope, which we kind of saw in the dream, you know, where Kamui couldn't remember everybody. Oh my god. And I was like, please don't go there. But it kind of makes sense because Sana's using, like, foresight, like, future seeing abilities. So it makes sense that, like, if something was going to happen, you would start forgetting things. You know what I mean? Because you're overtaxing your brain. Like, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense, but it's still kind of aggravating. And you're like, oh, for fuck's sake. All right, well. Like, I'm mad about it, but actually at the same time, I can't be that mad about it. Because, like I said, it makes sense. You're like, it makes sense, but it's still so, like, oh, really? Oh my god, and the power of love and friendship, he'll remember everything. When Sana overuses foresight, she starts to suffer symptoms of amnesia. My heart pounded loudly in my ears, and the air rushed out of my lungs. My mind had gone completely blank. Will she regain her memory? That's such a heavy price to pay, and you're forcing her to use her powers outside of battle. Are you out of your minds? What are the higher-ups thinking? Kaori and Mocha shouted, looking ready to take a swing at the commander. The higher-ups are thinking, who gives a shit about these girls? Haruka began asking rapid-fire questions, distress evident on her normally placid face, which is funny because they're really boys. So, they're like, yeah, but when they're in girl form, who cares? They're just girls. But, just kind of astounding. Reading too much into it. I don't think the game's that deep, but still. Have you told her this? How long do the symptoms last? When did you discover this in the first place? I opened my mouth to say my piece as well, but in that moment my voice failed me. I knew Kamui had been overdoing it, and I knew there were side effects, but all I did was worry. I didn't try harder to stop him. I hear you, and I'll take your criticisms to heart. This might sound like an excuse, but we weren't just doing nothing about it. Also, it's probably not really Misaki's choice. You know, he's being told what to do, too. But then he's the one that has to tell us what to do after other people tell him, so, you know. Ever since we found out about this, Rio and I have been carefully monitoring the numbers so that Sana's fatigue wouldn't reach its limit. And what about today? You could have let her retreat. Yes, that was my mistake. I'm sorry about that. Also, Rio's probably a bad guy since I feel like it kind of gave that away. Well, okay, not just the guide saying, like, do 2 sets of heroes, 2 sets of villains, and Rio. But Rio and, is Ibuki the other one that you can't do till the end anyway? So you can't really do them till the end anyway. But also seeing Rio outside talking to them kind of seems sus as fuck, so. He might not be a bad guy, but I still just don't. I'm at the, like, he probably kind of is. Anyway. The commander bowed deeply, and no one blamed him any further. I think we all felt his apology came from the heart, rather than from him just trying to appease us and get through the discussion. Also, I mean, he knows Kamui, and they're kind of friends, so. And I know this is a small consolation, but when we had the lab check Sana before we sent her home, they said her memory loss was only temporary. Really? Yes, so her memory should return if she rests. But doesn't she still have to use foresight every day? That's not resting. I'm going to try suggesting she reduce her foresight usage. I'll tell you what the higher-ups say tomorrow. Okay. Though I don't expect they'll rescind the order. I tried to think about what I could do, but all I felt was a sense of dread. What you doing? You're being weird. The next morning, I happened across Kamui on my way to school. It was unusual to see him alone. He looked so pale. He must still be tired after what happened yesterday. Maybe he was keeping quiet so the other girls wouldn't worry about him. Kamui, you should be resting today. Oh, Spacey, morning. Sorry for making you worry yesterday. I got some sleep and I feel much better now. What are you talking about? You're paler than a ghost right now. You're obviously pushing yourself too hard. I guess you saw right through me. It's just my low blood pressure. I'm not really a morning person. Who is? Okay, some weirdos. You feel called out if you're a morning person because you're a weirdo. But I'll be better once I fully wake up. I'm fine, don't you worry. He didn't look fine, but Kamui smiled at me and insisted he would be okay. Boop. I touched your tail. I touched your tail. I did, I touched it. Just in case, could you not do the morning broadcast? Or at least delay it a little? No way! Kamui abruptly cut me off. I'm sorry I raised my voice, but we have to do the broadcast on schedule. A lot of people plan their day based on what I say. I guess that's true, but I can tell you're worried about me and I appreciate it. But I think of it this way. I need to do the broadcast so we can have another shot at our date. We can have our date whenever. I'm more concerned with you needing to rest, and the fact that if you keep doing this, you're gonna forget me, and then our date's gonna be pointless, idiot! Slaps him in the face. I feel like she should say that. My stubbornness wouldn't allow me to back down, but Kamui simply brushed me off with a smile. Don't think I didn't hear that. That means you'll go on a date with me anytime, right? Huh? But that's not... We're gonna be late at this rate. See you at lunch. Kamui took off like he was trying to flee, though he wasn't going very fast. I could catch up with him without transforming. I'd just make him more tired if I chased after him, though. Okay, I'll wait for him in the prep room. Before he departed, Kamui seemed more off-kilter than before. I couldn't see the future, but a foreboding feeling still roiled in my stomach. Yeah, he's gonna forget shit. We're gonna have a huge, long amnesia thing. I just hope that... I feel like in a bad end, him getting amnesia and everything, like, okay, I could see that happening, fine. But I don't want them to go into, like, the good ending or something where he kind of has amnesia, but it's okay, we get to know each other again from scratch. Let's not start over. I don't want to start over with him, you know what I mean? The game's not long enough, we don't... You know what I mean? Like, no. I will accept a bad ending, he forgets everything type of a thing. Like, okay, I'll accept it in a bad end. But not in this end. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if this were, it's a temporary thing, he forgot something and then like, oh, he gets it back after he rests. Like, okay, cool, fine, I'll take it. It is what it is. But I don't want it to be like the whole, like, it's okay. I'll be by your side even though you've forgotten me. And like, that's supposed to be a happy ending that he forgets everything. So then he doesn't remember he was ever Sena or a magical girl or anything like that. And then he doesn't remember me, but then we meet again and then we fall in love and it's supposed to be like romantic, like, oh, but look, he still somehow falls in love with you even though he doesn't remember you. Like, no bullshit. Bullshit. No. Not taking that. Like, yeah, I see where you're going with that. Like, oh, it's kind of romantic. But no! No, not doing that here. You're not giving me that. Okay, as a good ending. Bullshit. That's all I'm saying. I will fucking throw shit. Good morning, everyone. These are the results of foresight from morning until noon. Sena's broadcast began as I headed to the prep room. No vectors will appear this morning, you can rest assured. I shall see you again for the noon broadcast. Have a lovely day. Cheers erupted from every class the moment Sena's broadcast ended. I hurried over to the prep room as quick as I could. Spurred by my desire to see Kamui's face as soon as possible, I made my way into the chem lab and through the hidden passage. Spacey? I didn't even have time to start missing you. I thought we were meeting for lunch. That was your suggestion. I never agreed to wait until the noon broadcast. Wait, what did you say? Oh, Mr. Kunomori, you're here. Of course I am. I was standing next to Kamui the whole time. Now, what's this about you meeting for lunch? I said we were meeting for lunch. I didn't say we were having sex. Simmer down. You met her here the other day, too. And don't tell me you've been meeting each other after the noon broadcast since then. Oh, I never told Mr. Kunomori that Kamui and I have been eating lunch in the prep room. Yeah, that's right. Should I have reported it? Well, I wish you would have told me. Sorry, it must have slipped my mind. Amnesia and all. Okay, this is where you could play up the amnesia thing and be like, slipped my mind, I'm overworking myself. I forget sometimes. Throw some guilt trips in there. I will allow amnesia guilt trips, because that's funny. You sure about that? Come on, I didn't mean anything by it. I wanted to eat in peace and quiet without worrying about prying eyes. I just needed some rest, So it slipped your mind because you wanted to have some privacy? Yeah, I guess that's what happened. Nice work, Misaki. Sharp as always. Mr. Kunomori still looked suspicious, but he remained silent. They explicitly told me not to meet Sena during the broadcast, and I broke that promise. I'm not meeting Sena, I'm meeting Kamui, it's different. I've been worried about Kamui, but the fact remained that I disregarded the rules. Again, not really! Loophole! Like, I thought I said not to meet up with Sena. I'm not meeting up with Sena, I'm meeting up with Kamui. I have no idea who Sena is. Who? No idea who she is. I'm sorry, Mr. Kunomori's phone rang at that moment, cutting me off. This is Kunomori. Calm down, I can't hear... What? I understand, I'll send the blooms. Yes. Yes, of course that issue is... Blooms? Does that mean some vectors have appeared? But earlier Sena said... Look, right now our top priority is to deal with the vectors. Mr. Kuromori hung up abruptly, which I'd rarely seen him do. Then he turned to Kamui and me. He looks disappointed in us. You know, though, when he's mad, he's hot. So I'm just saying, like, he's hot. I'm a little hot for teacher. Like, if we're gonna, I mean, I'm just saying, why, if they're gonna make us date, let us date an older man like Rio, why couldn't we be banging our teacher? Because, like, I'm just saying. They're like, why don't you have to go out on missions? Well, if you were having sex with the commander, you wouldn't have to either. That's wildly inappropriate. Oh, God. They're like, whoa, wait a minute. The rest of them would be very confused. They're like, we're in our girl forms, but, like, are we lesbians then? Because I don't understand. That's got to be very confusing too. God, this game's funnier every time you think about it. You're like, God, it's got to be very confusing for these kids. Like, yeah. And that was the higher ups. And there are vectors in one of the residential districts. Please head there immediately. My foresight was wrong. Kamui's face paled and he began to lean over as if on the verge of collapse. I rushed to his side. Kamui! What do I do? I just announced there wouldn't be any vectors this morning. Kamui's lips quivered with fear. I didn't know what to say to him, but the thing is again, once you say there's no vectors, they could be like, oh, release the vectors, because, you know what I'm saying? Like, right now, if you could see into the future, and you, like, right, you could see, like, 4 hours into the future. Okay. If you do nothing, say nothing, you could say then that future is certain, right? It's set in stone. But as soon as you see the future and then you pick up the phone and call someone or tell someone, hey, nobody drive on the highway because there's going to be an accident. Guess what? You just stopped that accident from happening. You changed the future. Therefore, what you saw is no longer true. So for Kamui seeing into the future and going, okay, and then going, there's no vectors between now and noon. So the bad guys are like, he just said there's no vectors. All right, guys, go. It's not like, they're like, shit, he said none. That means we can't go out. You know what I mean? They can change their plans based on what he said. Because once he says it, that future, it's like, well, now I can go ahead and change what I was going to do. I wasn't going to do anything. You know, or as soon as he says, oh, vectors are going to show up today. You know what I mean? All they have to do is go, you know what? Let's not go out today. He said we were going, let's not go. So, like, this is the thing that I don't understand. Like, I feel like we're not supposed to think about this logically. We're supposed to be like, oh, if he says, as soon as he says it, it's set in stone. I'm like, fuck no, we can't go out. But that's not the case. You know what I mean? As soon as I say, it's not gonna rain, somebody who has a magic button could be like, fuck that shit, pushes the button and says it rains. You know what I mean? Like, because you're predicting what other, I don't want to say humans, but there are humans in control of these vectors, right? You are predicting what something that is unpredictable is gonna do. It's like when you get mad at weather people. They said it wasn't going to rain and then it rained. They said there was like a 90% chance it wouldn't rain. And then all of a sudden storms came out of nowhere because, oh shit, we weren't expecting the weather patterns to change that abruptly or do something weird. You know what I mean? But like, you're talking about human beings. Now I know the vectors aren't human anymore, but humans control them. So as soon as you say, no vectors, then you have Moravia being like, get them out there. So I guess we're relying on the fact that, like, we think that the bad guys can't hack into our broadcasts or see it so that they can't make a fool out of Sana. You know what I'm saying? Like, this was doomed to fail because it just never made any sense why everyone's like, oh, okay, cool. No, it's not going to happen. It's not set in stone. You know what I mean? The future is not 100% certain. You know? Unless you do nothing to intervene. But even then, even if you could see 4 hours into the future and you were like, okay, this is what's going to happen. One little thing changes something. Like, the future can never be set in stone, you know? So, like, seeing, like, in battle what's going to happen in the next few minutes, yes, because that is probably already in the process of happening while she's seeing it. But seeing what's going to happen at noon, nope. They can change that as soon as those words come out of your mouth. No vectors. Fuck that. I'm sending them out, you know? So I just never kind of understood how we're supposed to believe that she was never going to fail and be wrong, because as soon as she started broadcasting it, she should have been wrong. They should have been like, all right, we're going to fuck with them, you know? So, I don't know. Anyway, there's going to be something. They have magical ability. And it's like, there shouldn't be a magical ability, but anyway. That's the most unbelievable part of this game to me. Not that boys turn into magical girls. I'll take that, but there's only so far I will believe. Anyway. And didn't you hear me? There are vectors in the residential district. People will be panicking. Kamui's head snapped up in surprise when he heard the commander's words. You need to transform and head there as soon as possible so we can minimize the damage. A bright glimmer returned to Kamui's eyes as the commander's words sunk in. Let's go, Spacey. Yeah. Sana and I didn't wait for the others. We headed straight to the residential district. I thought the academy would be in chaos because Sana's prediction had been wrong, but to my surprise, everyone was in class as usual. I figured the higher-ups didn't sound the alarm because the vectors appeared in a different area. While I had mixed feelings about that, it did mean we were able to leave the academy without anyone seeing us transformed. All we could hear was the blaring of the alarms and roars of the vectors when we arrived in the residential district. And the rescue team isn't here yet. I thought that was her for a second. A lot of the trees have been knocked down and the roads destroyed, so maybe they're stuck. Our priority for now is handling the vectors. I know, but we can use psychokinesis to move the trees and debris as we go, correct? Yes, but only within the range of our ability, yes. I do know some things, you know. Sana nodded with a smug smile, then burst out laughing as if she couldn't hold it in. What's wrong? I apologize. I know this isn't appropriate time, but it's been a while since we've had an exchange like that. Sana closed her eyes quietly, and for a moment, she looked as though she might just disappear. I couldn't help but call out her name. Sana... Now then, enough idle chit-chat. Let us move toward the vectors. Yeah, let's do this. Not long after, we found a horde of vectors that were destroying empty buildings. They hadn't noticed the people had already evacuated. There's more than I expected. Indeed, more than the two of us can handle. We should concentrate on keeping them in this area until the others arrive. Got it. Sana and I set up a perimeter and blocked the vector's path while simultaneously corralling them into a single location. It'd be best if we could move them beyond the outer wall, but it's just not possible with only the two of us. This battle will be a long one. We backed into each other without knowing, Sana's elbow hitting my arm. I heard a pain groan and looked over my shoulder to see Sana wiping sweat from her brow and breathing heavily. Oh, no, I think Sana's at her limit. I should act as a decoy and go ahead. However, the moment I made that decision... Looks like we made it just in time. Sorry to keep you both waiting. Kaori and the others deployed a resounding shockwave as they rushed onto the scene. Took you long enough. How much time does one need to prepare anyway? The hero always swoops in at the last minute, right? You've got nothing to fear now that we're here. I'll be counting on you then. There's so many vectors. What's the plan? Cast Augment and Fight. Focus on support. I feel like my brain wants to say, cast Augment and Fight! But maybe we should focus on support because that's different. But we've been using Augment the whole time, so I feel like we should use Augment. We should fight so that Sana doesn't have to fight. You know what I mean? We gotta protect our girl. Well, we focus on support. Okay. Focus on support. Sana, Mocha, and I will focus on backup so that Kaori and Haruka can use their powers. How does that sound? That's probably the best plan considering our energy levels. Alrighty, it's defending time. Got it. I get so confused every once in a while with Kaori and Haruka to be like, which one's which again? Oh my god. Kaori and Haruka moved as one and swiftly headed to the front lines. When they're in front of me, I can usually remember, but it's like all of a sudden the names pop up, my brain got like, wait. We changed the tide of battle in no time and soon took the offensive. Also, for some reason in my brain, those two voices are similar. Even though one's like this and one's like this, and they're different, but there's a tone to them that's similar. So my brain is like, which one do I... they're in a very similar voice pocket in my brain. They're next to each other. So when I try to whip one out, every once in a while the other one comes out instead, and I'm like, no, I was trying to grab pocket B and I grabbed A instead. Oh god, it's so weird. Anyway, we changed the tide of battle in no time and soon took the offensive. At the rate we're going, I think we'll be able to push the vectors beyond the outer wall. Right when I was about to suggest as much, an innocent voice with a cruel edge cut through the air. You knew, like, I think we'll be able to, and you're like, guess who's coming? You're finally here. I got so tired of waiting that I took a nap. Yukonami? We all reflexively moved into a defensive stance while Yukonami continued, nonplussed. Now it's my turn. You've been giving her so much attention and not playing with me at all. Yukonami pouted and pointed at Sena when he said her. But his mouth quickly morphed into a smile and he squealed like a child who just found his favorite toy. But you know what? There are lots of humans here during the day, so she can't keep your attention all the time. And if you let me go like you did the other day, well, something bad'll happen. You're the worst. What are you even thinking? You wanted someone to play with, so you brought the vectors and started destroying the town. We all clearly showed our confusion and disgust, but Yukonami looked genuinely confused. You're saying all these things, but I don't get a word of it. Are we playing or not? Yukonami snapped with irritation and unleashed psychokinesis on a nearby building. It's kind of interesting that most of the ones who end up with powers transform into magical girls, but then you have Hyuga and Yukonami who transform into like half vector boys instead of magical girls. I guess they didn't want to keep it all. They didn't want to be like, we can't turn them all into magical girls. So they turned two of them into monsters. Sure. Yukonami, calm down! Why don't we talk? Before I could finish my sentence, the debris from the building suddenly flung itself back toward Yukonami. Psychokinesis again? Someone's aiming for Yukonami, but who? What do you think? Is this satisfactory, since you wanted our attention and all? Turns out I didn't have to check who was attacking. Sena's voice shook as she raised her hands into the air. You did all this just to get attention? How selfish can you be? So are you saying you won't play with me? What you're doing is wrong. Huh? Right? Wrong? What does it have to do with me? I just want someone to look at me. The conversation was getting nowhere with them pushing back against one another. It was obvious neither would concede. I shall bring you down. Sena, wait! Before I could stop her, Sena made her declaration and leapt straight for Yukonami. Huh? Is Sena going for a direct attack? And that's all I can think of. There's still vectors remaining. We should split up. I'll go with Sena. Back up Kaori and Haruka. I feel like we go with Sena. I mean, come on. Okay. Ooh, save file 4. Okay. Alright, maybe we are getting to the end. I was seriously thinking, I'm like, I don't know how the hell, like, this only took 3 hours to do, because I feel like we have so much, like, left, but all of us, oh, whoops. But all of a sudden, it's like, we're whipping through. We just got through, like, 5 choices here. Well, 3? This is our 4th one. Yeah, go with Sena, of course. We'll move forward with Sena. I thought you'd say that. Go and help her out. We'll take care of the vectors. Thanks. I left the rest of them and hurried to catch up with Sena. I thought Yukonami's nimble attack would cause us trouble again, but... Whoa, hey, time out! Why so serious, huh? Aren't you being a little extreme? Yukonami had been jumping around Sena, but now he actively tried to maintain his distance. Sena was able to read his movements with foresight and had backed Yukonami into a corner. Prepare yourself. What you mean? I haven't lost yet, you know. I was going easy on you, but I'm done with that. You looked useless the other day when you collapsed, but you can fight after all. It's not fair. Yukonami worked himself up and looked like he was about to cry. I'll bring more victors next time and get you back. He threw out some bitter words like a sore loser before turning around and disappearing. The Vectors also changed directions and went toward the outer wall, following Yukinami. It looks like we've avoided the worst-case scenario. I'll keep watch to make sure the Vectors leave. Everyone else, commence rescue efforts. I'll go with you. We'll feel much safer if you do that, wouldn't you agree? Yeah, Sena, you should stay here. I turned to Sena for confirmation, but she was staring into the distance in silence. There's smoke coming from that way. Where? I tried to ask her, but Sena didn't respond. In the next moment, she vanished, her pigtails flying behind her in the wind. Is it coming from where your grandpa... That's what I was worried about when it said residential district. I'm like, if anything happens to Gramps. Sena said there was smoke. Oh, that's where Mr. Zenji's house is. I'm going after Sena. The others called out to me as I took off after Sena. Oh no, if something happened to him. I followed the familiar path and found myself running behind Kamui rather than Sena. Right. We're going to see Mr. Zenji. I should undo my transformation too. I made sure not to lose sight of Kamui as I ducked into an alley to dispel my transformation. Damn it! Why did this have to happen? Kamui groaned in despair when he saw the town was destroyed. This must be so painful for him. I've only been here once, and even I feel heartbroken. Kamui! Oh, Kamui! Hey, are you hurt? I'm fine, as you can see. Never mind about me, I heard Zenji's hurt. Gramps? Oh, dear God, if Gramps dies, I'm going to be so mad at this game. Look, you can kill my friend, but you can't kill Gramps. We had more character building with Zenji than we did with Lizzie, is all I'm saying. Okay? This is where they get you if they kill Zenji, okay? Because, like, we had more... I feel like we built more time with him and just hearing his backstory and, like, knowing what he means to Kamui. Like, that bothers me more than Lizzie dying. Because we spent, like, we was like, oh, hey, she's our best friend, and she made muffins for us, and then she was trying to cheer us up, and then she's dead, and it's like, because we didn't really have a lot of, like, again, if we had more fluff in the beginning, like, a little bit more, like, we're hanging out with her, we run into the guys, but we're hanging out with her, and, like, maybe we see them a little bit, and then blah, 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 but it was, like, one scene with her, and then instantly we were part of the Blooms, and, like, whatever, so they cut out a lot of building up with her. And I really feel like Zenji's one scene that we had with him, time-wise, amounted to more screen time for him than we ever got with Lizzie. So I'm just saying, like, you know. So him dying would hurt me more. Just like, anyway. Gramps! Please let him be safe. I followed Kamui as we ran into Mr. Zenji's home. I'm going to squeeze you if you bite me again. I'm going to squeeze you. Why'd I squeeze you? Because I love you. I squeeze you gentle. Squeeze, squeeze. What? You looking at me like, I'm not actually going to hurt you. I'm not going to squeeze you. I will. I squeeze you gently because I want to squish you. You're so silly. I followed Kamui as we ran into Mr. Zenji's home. I looked around and didn't see any damage. Luckily, it seemed the Vectors didn't attack the house. Gramps, are you here? That voice. Is that you, Kamui? I don't remember the voice I gave him 2 days ago, but whatever. Mr. Zenji appeared with a surprised look on his face. Bandages were wrapped around one of his arms. Could have been yesterday, for God's sakes. I don't know. Were you outside when the Vectors attacked? Don't tell me you got hurt. What about those bandages? Did you break anything? We gotta take you to the hospital if you did. Settle down, Kamui. My injuries aren't serious. Just a few cuts and bruises, an arm in a sling. Really? Kamui looked at him suspiciously, but Mr. Zenji smiled, albeit with a wince. I did see the Vectors outside, but there was plenty of distance between us. So many people were evacuating they got careless and tripped. I was hoping he was going to say, yeah, I got, like, knocked into something when I was trying to help someone, and you're like, oh, that sucks, but, like, well, he's like, I tripped. Okay. Realistic. It's a bit of a pathetic way to have gotten hurt. But anyway, that's why you needn't worry. Plus, Spacey's watching you, you know. Mr. Zenji grinned and patted Kamui on the top of his head. Look at Kamui shaking. What the fuck? Spacey, when'd you get here? Hey, cut that out. I'm not a kid anymore. Stop. No need to be shy now. I'm sorry to make y'all worry, and thanks for watching out for Kamui. I can see you're well enough to crack your stupid jokes. And I'm thankful you've recovered enough to sass back. Huh? You got a sharp tongue, young lady. You can go on and take Kamui back now. Take me back? You want to get rid of me that bad? Of course not, you lunkhead. The maintenance corps called me in. I have to go check for damages outside of town. You both left school to come here, right? I'm fine, so you can go on back. Mr. Zenji gave Kamui a pat on the back as if to encourage him to leave. When if you start to feel sick? I told you I'm fine. But you never know. Contact me immediately if you suddenly feel pain or if something starts feeling off. Yeah, if I manage to remember. What? You're seriously one stubborn old man. Listen, if you break this promise, I'll ban all Yatsuhashi, and I'll get the neighbors in on it too. Relax, I'll be sure to contact you. Sheesh. That got you to change your tune quick, didn't it? Still don't know if I can trust you. Kamui, we should get going. Sorry to keep you waiting. Let's get back. Kamui nodded, shaking off any doubts, and then turned to me with a brilliant smile. Spacey, when'd you get here? Holy shit. I'm just kidding. After we were assured of Mr. Zenji's safety, we transformed again before returning to the command center. Only the commander and Ryo were there. The others had already left. Yeah, Masaki's so mad. Look at him. Look at his disappointed little pout. I apologize for leaving my post. I'm sorry, too. Okay, no need to apologize further. I can tell you're sorry, so there'll be no punishment this time. And the vectors had already been pushed back anyway. Sena, you went to check your family, right? On a personal level, I understand why you did that. Sena and I nodded to show we understood, and Mr. Kuromori resumed his usual tone as our commander. Now, Sena, you're going to be transferred to the research district for the time being. The research district? The person in charge there is here to fetch you. Ryo will take you to them. The commander made it clear this was not up for debate. This must have come from the higher-ups. I understand. Sena obviously didn't want to go, but she followed Ryo nonetheless. I have a bad feeling about this. Is it really okay to let Sena go? Punch someone. Sena! I called out to stop her. Sena paused and turned around, a playful smile on her lips. Once I return, perhaps we could have green tea together again. I'll brew it using fresh tea leaves, though I'm afraid it won't be as good as Gramps'. Of course. And I look forward to it. Ow! You were so mean! Let's go. Ryo urged Sena onward, and she walked out without looking back. There's something I need to tell you. The commander turned to me after Sena and Ryo had left through the door behind him. Sena's going to remain in the research district from now on. What? I thought I'd surely misheard, but the commander's grim expression told me I hadn't. This was really happening. It's for Sena's protection. Things are going to get tough for Sena. It's better she stay in the research district so we can minimize the damages. Yeah, but Kamui doesn't have to do that. While she's gone, the four of you will continue on as the Blooms. I hope you'll cooperate. Not unless you bring my boyfriend back. But unfortunately, it's already been decided. I told Kaori and the others as well. Darkness clawed at the sides of my vision. The news had completely blindsided me. Is this because she disobeyed orders and left? I did the same thing! I told you that you wouldn't be punished for that. Then why is Sena being held in the research district? Why do you think Sena's prediction was wrong? I thought he might have been trying to change the subject, but the commander looked entirely serious. I imagine it happened because she was exhausted. She looked pale this morning, too. I see. So that's what you think. The commander pondered this briefly. Is there another reason? That's all I've got for now. Go on back to class. Commander, Mr. Kuromori, please tell me. If you want to protect Sena, you have to go. All right. My legs felt heavy as I walked back to school. Suddenly, I heard someone say Seina's name. I can't believe it! Seina was wrong! Just who are we supposed to trust now? It's not like I hate her, but I do feel betrayed. It's utterly shocking. I understand that they're all worried, but they don't have to phrase it like that. So this is what the commander meant when he said things would get tough for her. I'd be like, hey, did you ever think that, like, the future's not set in stone and she's doing predicting and people are, like, purposely trying to fuck with us? I'm like, hey, do you have psychic abilities? No, then shut your fucking mouth. You don't know how difficult it is. From that day on, Seina cast Foresight 5 times a day instead of 3. Oh my god, they're going to kill our boyfriend. However, the broadcast was cancelled and her predictions were relayed through a news program. Reducing her exposure to the public would reduce her stress, or at least that's how the commander explained it. Perhaps the measures were effective because Seina's predictions became 100% accurate again, but still, they're going to kill our boy. We got to go rescue him. They still won't tell me how Seina's doing. The commander and Rio always avoid the topic. Just what is going on? I knew she wasn't allowed visitors, but they could have at least told me how she was doing. Instead, they just changed the subject every time. Like, that's kind of fucked up, and then nobody knows that Kamui's just fucking missing. If this continues, I'll just have to sneak into the research district and check on Seina myself. Do it! My phone suddenly rang. Is it Kamui? It's a private number. Who could it be at this hour? Is it an emergency deployment? Yes, this is Takanashi. You sound like you're doing fine. No way. That voice, I assumed. Kamui? That's right. Were you expecting a call from someone else? Oh, look. It's not really a CG. I like the little pop-in, though. But we look like Muppets talking on the phone. It's because there's no teeth, so they have Muppet mouths. Hers is a little less Muppety than his, but... Huh? No, it's not that. It's late, so I thought it was an emergency. Oh, right. Sorry about that. I don't really get any time alone, so I had to wait. Anyway, can you talk now? Or were you about to go to bed? It was good. I shouted with perhaps too much enthusiasm, and I can hear Kamui laughing on the other end. I'm glad. So, yeah. Hey, Spacey. It's been a while. Yeah, it has. It was really Kamui. As that realization sank in, I found all I could say was a bog-standard reply. I can't talk for long. I just wanted to tell you that I'm doing fine. Would you give my regards to the others? Oh, wait. They probably get mad and want me to call them personally. That's probably true. Once they let you out, just come on over to the command center. Everyone's waiting for you. You're like, I miss you. Kamui? You know how you and the others have been doing all the fighting lately? I always think that if I show up now, they'd really let me have it. Yeah, you should brace yourself for that. Ha, I figured. When do you think they'll let you go? I couldn't help but ask, even though I knew the question would put pressure on Kamui. Spacey, can I be honest with you? Yes, of course. Please tell me. Honestly, they haven't decided. What? You mean they're just gonna keep you there? Kinda surprising, isn't it? I think I was a little optimistic before. It's a big strain on the others to have a member at a commission, so I thought they'd put me back in the front lines sooner rather than later. But the higher-ups seem to only want me to focus on Foresight. With Kaori and Haruka going all out on the front lines, Seina's psychokinesis isn't that important. At least that's what they've been telling me. But I kinda get what they're saying. Mocha's sap works especially well against vectors, and your augment's needed on the battlefield. The Foresight can be cast anywhere. It's more of a problem if I'm out there than run out of energy and become a liability. Don't say that! No one sees you as a liability. Sorry, that wasn't the right way to explain it. I didn't want this. I didn't want to cause more trouble for everyone because of my lack of ability. And that's why I accepted their decision. I'll stay in the research district for a while and use Foresight here. So you've already made up your mind? Yeah. It was almost painful how much determination he'd poured into that single word. It's alright, Spacey. It's not like they're keeping me in prison and forcing me to use my powers. You don't have to worry about anything untoward. Besides, it's not like I don't have allies. Though that person wishes to remain anonymous. An anonymous ally? I know, it sounds super shady. But he has helped me out, so I trust the guy. It's our uncle, whoever he is. He even lent me this phone and got me time to talk without being monitored. I can think of someone who has that much power. A name floated through my mind, but I didn't press the matter any further. All that's to say, you don't have to worry about me, and no barging into the research district. I wouldn't do that. Your reaction says it all. I knew you were planning to. You have this tendency to run head first into things when left to your own devices. Anyway, I'll find a time to call you again, so don't do anything rash. You hear me? I'll try. Or it's Masaki, because you know what I mean, like he's sneaking in because he's a researcher and whatever, but... Come on, Spacey. I need you to agree. If you don't want me to do anything reckless, then contact me again as soon as possible. Oh, so that's how it's gonna be, huh? Okay, then I'll try. Kamui chuckled as he threw my words back at me, but this is like, our little banter back and forth is kind of adorable, I feel it. My heart ached hearing his laugh again after so long. Well then, good night. Good night. We hung up and the screen on my phone went dark. I knew he wasn't there anymore, but I couldn't let it go. Yesterday marked 1 week since Kamui had contacted me. Aw. Since then I'd only spoken with him that one time and hadn't heard any news about him being let out. I knew I could get impatient sometimes, but I'd also noticed some concerning changes. Before, Seina's predictions had been broadcast 5 times a day, but they'd switched to irregular updates. The announcer said the vectors haven't been appearing as much the past few days, but maybe Seina isn't able to use foresight. Like, if they're working him too hard and he's not getting enough rest, he doesn't remember shit. That's why he didn't call you. Kamui had contacted me through a private number, so I couldn't reach him that way. The only recourse I had was to speak directly with the commander. Punch him! I waited until school was over and hurried to him. You will fucking tell me where my boyfriend is! Besides, it's not like I don't have allies. Though that person wishes to remain anonymous. I know, it sounds super shady, but he's helped me out, so I trust the guy. Someone who can make contact with Kamui and enter the research district without issue. That narrows down the possibilities a lot. Out of that small group of people, the person Kamui would describe like that has got to be the commander. The commander's been avoiding talking about Kamui, but I'll make sure he does so today. I'll beat it out of him! What you doing, buddy? I think maybe we'll wrap it up here. It's a little bit under time, but I'm just concerned that if we start reading a little bit more, you know what I mean? Like if we do too much longer, like this next scene will go like 5-10 minutes over. I'm debating. Do we, like it's, we only have 3 minutes, but maybe this scene won't be too long. Maybe we just do it. Fuck it, let's just do it. All right, fine, whatever, we'll continue. I was debating because it's like so close, we only have a couple minutes left. We only got like 2 minutes, but like, yeah, fuck it. That last scene was a little short. Well, if we go over, we go over. It's fine. Some students said they'd seen Mr. Kuromori go into the chem lab prep room, so I figured he was heading to the command center. When I arrived, Rio was there. The two of them were discussing something. Her success rate is back to normal, but Seina's still restless. They're talking about Seina. Ooh, interesting. I thought I'd see what they had to say about Kamui, so I stopped where I was. It's possible she could miss the mark again, which is cause for worry. And there's a chance Seina doesn't understand why this is happening either. But you're sure, right? Seina... I mean... Kamui does love her. My hand flew over my mouth to suppress a yell. Kamui likes someone? We eat together almost every day, and he's never said anything of the sort. Oh, God, I love how derpy we are. I thought she was like, oh, he loves me? Girl, she's an idiot. I love it. That would be me, too. Oh, that kind of breaks my heart, because I kind of have a thing for him and never, ever clue in that anybody liked me. Oh, my God. I want to slap her for being stupid, but at the same time, it's like, it's so me. I would absolutely be her in this position. Thinking about it sent a pain shooting through my heart. Same. I honestly can't tell if he's aware of it, but there's no doubt he's in love with her. If you see his face when he looks at Spacey, will it be obvious to anyone? Except for me, clearly! Wait, Kamui likes me? Obvious to anyone. Except for her. She's kind of an idiot. I love it so much. My brain short-circuited when I heard those words. Mine would too, to be fair. I can't make fun of her for being as dumb as I am. I felt as if I couldn't breathe, and my heart pounded out of my chest. It seems like they've hung out together quite a bit. That was an oversight on my part. Just yesterday he said family was worried about him and he wanted to contact them, so I made the arrangements. I assume he's contacted her as well. And do you know if she said she feels the same? They're not at that point yet. I don't think she realizes how Kamui feels, given the way they talk to each other. Maybe you should check again. I understand you want to clarify things, but we'd risk kicking the hornet's nest, so to speak. And if the worst happened, I couldn't live with myself. After a certain point, I could no longer understand what they were talking about. This is interesting. My pulse raced faster and faster, so I ran away from the command center. That was worth it! It was a couple extra minutes. Well, shit. I'm like, we got to time. I was moving my mouse and I clicked because like my mouse was frozen, so I clicked it, but it was on the record button, so it stopped my recording right in the middle as I was gonna. Anyway, we were gonna end the part anyway, but now I've got like 30 seconds that I gotta edit. What the fuck? Anyway, as I was saying, and I don't know if part of it got cut off. Like that was perfect. I was like, perfect. It just hit right at that 1 hour. Guys. And then I was like, I sat here and I'm like, oh, let me move my mouse to like go to my file, like to move. And I was like, and then I'm like, oh God, did I just click the stop? I did click the stop button. That's the only thing I hate, like, because like sometimes my mouse doesn't, like, I have to click it to get it to like wake up. And it just so happened that the cursor was on the button. Oh God. Anyway, so that was well worth the extra couple of minutes and doing that, but I will wrap this part up here now. Oh my God. Anyway, I will see you next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.